Alright, so this video is going to be a little bit of all over the place. And I also have a bit of a canker sore on the back of my mouth, so it's going to be messing with the way I speak. So if I sound a little bit more different than I normally do, or a little more autistic than I normally do, that's why. So with that said, this is mostly for the website or forum that's called RC Group. I want to have some help with something, so I know they should be able to at least point me in the right direction for what I need to have, for what I need to get. So with that said, I first want to show what I'm going to be building to my to the people that actually sub to my channel to watch me build this stuff, and then go on to the actual main part of this video. So this is going to be my next life-size build. This is Kongou. I don't know how to properly pronounce the first two words of the name of the anime she's from, but I'll just be calling it Blue Steel for the sake of ease for me. So the guy that's been doing the posing for me for the past few years, I believe you pronounce his name Javor or something like that. I don't know how to properly pronounce it. He's from Ecuador, so probably pronouncing his name is a little bit more difficult for me, especially for unique names like him. That's one of the reasons why I really don't properly say his name in my videos, and I really need to learn how to properly pronounce his name so I can give him the proper shout outs and whatnot, because if it wasn't for him, all the stuff I've been building on my channel, I wouldn't be able to do it because he's the one that does all the posing for me. So like I said, he's been working on this one now for a while. This is a temp model, or this is a temp file for me, so I can figure out how everything's going to go together while he goes and properly puts everything together, or properly poses and fixes stuff and whatnot. And as you can tell, there is some stuff that needs to be done. The legs need to be cut into each other instead of like they are right now, because right now they're just simple models just fusing into each other. These need to be cut and actually physically attached to each other. This needs to be fixed. There's some work that needs to be done on the hair and whatnot. The skirt needs to be worked on a little bit. Mainly this section right here needs to be worked on a little bit. This needs to be pushed up some. But again, his skills in Blender are superb. These are skills that I unfortunately do not have, and something I'm very happy that he's willing to take his time out of his day to actually properly do this for me. So with that said, here it goes into what I want to talk about on RC Group. So about 2 weeks ago, I went to my local anime convention. At my local anime convention, I brought this figure with me that I made. This is made out of paper, and yes, I know this is not exactly the best look in the world when it comes to the mouth. It is a foresight I didn't foresee, because when I was building my first model from across, which is Freya here, I ended up with this as her mouth. So I was trying to remedy this problem, because the lips right here, which you really can't tell or see, I don't know if you can, but the amount of folding and the amount of small little pieces of paper I had to work with, I tried to make it easy, and I came out with this. And to remedy that ugly problem, I did this, and in hindsight, I didn't know it was going to look like this, so I'll make sure the next one I build, which is Kongou, this doesn't happen. So, like I said, I took this to my local anime convention. A lot of people liked it, like all anime figures and whatnot do. But the one problem was, she's about 10 pounds or so. And I was using my non-dominant arm, which is my left one right here, to carry her around, because my right arm had the Rising Naofumi's shield. So I wasn't able to really carry Freya and have the shield on my right arm. So my non-dominant arm, which is my left one, got incredibly tired really fast, because I was lugging her around for at least like 4 to 5 hours. And I was like, yeah, the next build I'm doing, I'm not going to carry her around. She's going to be RC based. I'm going to have an RC car or something on inside the base of the character I build, which will be this time Kongou. She'll actually be standing on her own custom little sitting thing, or whatever you call it. And she'll be RC controlled, so I don't have to carry her around at the convention, tire myself out. I'll be building her a stand, something like this life-size Miku I built back in 2015. And if I can bring my mouse over, I can actually, give me a second. You can get the general idea of the base I built for Miku. This wasn't RC powered. It just had two scooter wheels in the back and one wheel in the front that was on a pivot. And I basically had it on the back where it was just where right here is just a PVC pipe at an angle with a wooden stick and a small handle on that wooden stick to where I can just push her around like that. It did work, but it was my first build and it came out nice, but I want to do something a little bit more unique for Kongou here, especially considering, again, I built that thing in 2015. So here's a general idea of what I think for Kongou, for the base for Kongou. It's more or less going to be like this, where the front and back are basically just like this, and the sides are more or less going to be like this. Maybe I might move the back here a little bit out like this at an angle, depending on how she actually sits, because I'm thinking she's going to be a little bit more back heavy, so I might need to either extend this a little bit more or add a little bit of bracing or something right here. I don't know yet. I actually don't have this physically in my hands yet to properly figure out how I'm going to build the actual stand and whatnot for her to sit on. And actually, considering I have a few ideas for the RC parts, I might actually need to extend this back some so I can actually have more room to place the RC components inside her, so she can actually be, well, again, driven around the convention center without me having to ever lay a finger or push her around, depending on how long the batteries last. So for a while now, I had this idea. Give me a second. I really hate having to edit these videos, but that has to be done. One of my first ideas was doing something like this. This is a foam board F4 Phantom. This is from Flight Test. And my original idea was something like this. Since this RC airplane can't fly, and I don't have the money, and I don't have like the $200 or so it will take to get the RC jets, the jet engines and whatnot to get this thing to fly, I decided to just basically make it an RC car. And I used two transmissions from two cheap cars you can get from Walmart. And I'm using a board here from an RC car that's made by, give me a second, from the company called New Bright. It was an RC tracked vehicle. And this little board, it basically works with them with basically thrust spectrum. I actually don't know what it's called on RC cars, but it's basically an RC tank controller. So I had two transmissions that are independently controlled, and basically what will happen is that if you have an RC tank, you know exactly how this works. This was my original idea, to have two independent transmissions on the back of Kongou's, on the back of the little thing Kongou will be sitting on, and using that to actually steer her around, because if I use two independent transmissions that can be independently operated at once, I could easily turn her around and whatnot without having much problem. But the problem with this board here is I have too much, if the motors here are under too much strain, the board will automatically cut power to the motors. And knowing how heavy Kongou's going to be, which is going to be about 5-10 pounds with both her and the stand, this little thing won't cut it, let alone even have enough power to actually get her to drive around, because if this even provides enough power, it will only go like a mile per hour, and that's pretty stinking slow. So then yesterday I got this other New Bright vehicle. This is a New Bright Doom Buggy, and it's powered by a 9.6 volt lithium battery. This thing is somewhat fast, but that's not why I'm worried. But that's not really why I bought this thing. I bought it because it looks cool and it might have enough guts to actually do what I want. And I tried doing that today with Freya here. I made this little rolly table thing, or whatever you call it, for her to stay on, or for her to stand on and whatnot. And I attached this to the RC car on the back right here, and took it outside, and see this little RC car will have enough torque to actually move Freya around and whatnot. Because remember, she's about 5, 6, 7, 10 pounds. She's fairly heavy. And this little car right here has more than enough guts to actually push her around. But due to her being so heavy, she broke off one of the wheels, and I really couldn't test her much, and I really couldn't do any much more testing because this wheel right here is about to bust. I mean, I'm using barbecue skewers, but it was more of a proof of concept. So this little RC car here, I don't know how long the battery will actually last. If I went for this, this is again why I'm actually doing this post on the RC group forum or whatever it's called, because I want to get their input on this. So what my idea here is for the actual base. If I can bring up the so yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to actually extend this back a little bit. So my idea for this is putting the RC car somewhere here in the middle, or somewhere towards the back. I don't know which yet. And I'm going to have two tires from basically scooters, 2 scooter tires in the back, and have a small little wheel in the front, in the middle, to where a wheel that's on a pivot. That way, so it doesn't require much to actually get it to turn. So there's basically going to be a 3-wheeled system, and then the RC car in the middle towards either, again, maybe a little bit towards the back, a little bit towards the front. I don't know which yet. Again, I'm putting this on the RC group for some input. And hopefully that'll be enough to actually get her to move around and whatnot. I don't want her to go super fast, which is fine by me. I want her to go basically my walking speed, which is about 3 miles per hour, 4, something like that. And also this car here has digital throttle, so I can actually physically control how much power goes to the car and whatnot. So this is my idea of how to get this to work. Hopefully you can kind of understand what I'm trying to convey. I don't know if that's physical. I don't know how many people can actually understand what I'm trying to do. But what I really want to do is actually do the RC tank method of controlling her and whatnot, and actually have those 2 wheels in the back, independently controlled, so I can actually just have 3 wheels or maybe 4, depending on how unstable she is, and just have those 2 independent wheels in the back be physically controlled like an RC tank. But the problem with that is I don't know the gearing that I'll need, because again, she's going to be it's probably going to be, like I said, about 10-15 pounds, and I have no idea what type of gearing system I'll need to do to get her to actually drive and whatnot. And I don't even know if an RC car will actually even have the type of gearing I would need for this at a reasonable price. Too bad I don't have a 3D printer. So again, hopefully someone can understand what I'm trying to explain, and maybe can also give me some input on how I should actually go through with this. So again, hopefully someone can understand what I'm talking about and give me proper input. So yeah.